Today, you're going to meet Beth Hazan. She is a force. She lives on the Upper East Side and owns one of my favorite bar restaurants called Heidi's House and Ed's Elbow Room. Today, she's going to share what it's like living in New York City, having a full-time job and managing a restaurant, all while being a mom and wife, and how she does it all. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, Beth. How did you end up in New York City?
How did I end up in New York City? Well, I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I lived in the Bronx, and then first grade we moved to Long Island, and then I went to Queens College. And when I graduated college, married a couple of years in the suburbs, hated that. We moved to Manhattan.
Where?
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Mhm.
Where in the suburbs did you live? I'm a fellow Long Islander.
Oh, love Long Island.
Yep. Strong Island, as we would say.
My husband and I both grew up in the Five Towns, which is right past JFK.
Yeah.
It's like where the suburbs begin.
Yes.
And now it's quite Orthodox. It was only moderately Orthodox growing up. Now it's extremely religious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How'd you guys both end up coming to New York City? Manhattan, I should.
Yeah. So Bogey, my husband, went to Yeshiva University uptown. I'm going like this, like uptown.
Yeah.
Uptown from here. And after college, we both were like, as soon as we could swing it, let's get out of the suburbs and move to the city.
Yeah.
I always want to be there. I was like, even if I have to live in the smallest space, I don't care.
What do you love about New York City? Or what do you prefer over a suburb?
So the main thing, I wanted this since I was a child. I hated taking the school bus. Like I hated the older kids. They would tease me about my hair. Looking back, I'm like, that's so lame. I should have just stood up for myself. I hated the school bus. You'd be on the bus for like an hour to get to your school that was 15 minutes away. I'm like, why?
Right.
Or having your parents drive you everywhere.
Right.
I mean, I like to be independent. So I wanted to separate from my parents in terms of like relying on them for my day-to-day needs.
Yes.
Which I think most kids go through.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I also didn't want like my in-laws just walking over and going, knock, knock.
Hysterical.
They're wonderful, I promise.
Yes. How did you end up on the Upper East Side out of all the areas in New York City? Why?
Word of mouth. Everyone was like, you'll get the most space for your dollar.
Yeah.
This was in 2004, which might hold true besides some little enclaves throughout the city. I mean, it's if you want to be in Manhattan proper, you know.
I agree. I agree. Upper East Side is also great to raise a family, which tell me about your family.
At the time, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
But it turns out I was just telling someone at my restaurant last night, this woman was in town. She moved to LA from New York. And she's like, I was really scared about raising kids in the city. I was like, I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I was like, I want this.
Right.
I want their lives to be in a rectangle.
Right.
You know, sometimes we go other places, but you have your doctor, you have your school, you have your dance studio, you have all your activities, and it's walkable.
Right.
And that's my community.
It's pretty special. Explain your family.
So we have two daughters, 14 and 10, and they share a room. They share a bunk bed.
Right.
We actually just upgraded and got them a full over full. So it was like narrow and now it's like huge.
Nice.
It takes up the whole room, but it's fine.
What's it like sharing a room between two girls? One's in elementary school, one's in high school.
So their lives are actually pretty separate. They go to different schools and they have for many years. And they're not home. City kids they're filled with activities. My kids on some nights have 2.5 hours of dance class.
Right.
So how many hours are they really in the room together? They go to school, they come home, they go back out to dance or whatever other activity. It's, you know.
So you mentioned independence and not having to take the bus. Do your kids take a bus to school? Do they take a subway? Do they walk?
So most years it was just walking to school. And as your kids get older, they have to go to schools that are a little further out of your neighborhood.
Right.
Now my daughter takes the subway, a couple stops, which isn't so bad, but just a few stops every day.
Okay, so people hear about the subway on TV and...
Me too.
Okay, so they're hearing about all these horror stories. What is your experience with your daughter taking the subway, and what precautions do you take if you need to?
I did put a rape whistle in her bag. I doubt she even thinks about it.
Precautions.
Yeah.
Yes.
I told, you teach your kids to stand back on the platform, be aware, don't be on your phone. How much do they listen to? Hopefully they listen a little bit.
Right.
But they're always around friends. Like usually her commute, by the time she gets to the second stop, she'll see somebody.
Right.
Or when she gets off at the last stop to go to school, you see all the kids getting off. So whether they're coming from downtown, uptown, Queens, like they're just congregating together. So it's not as solitary as you would think for a child.
That's a good point. You're always seeing kids in groups, and even with our elementary school kids, we're in a community where everyone's just living around in a 10-block radius.
As I walk down the block to our elementary school, how many people do I bump into? Probably 20 families at least.
Right. Do you worry about daily safety for the kids?
Definitely.
Okay.
Try not to worry so much because it could make you crazy.
Okay.
And the news always sensationalizes things, but bad things happen. I'm worried about safety. I'm worried about homeless, vagrants, people who are mentally ill. You have to be aware, just like you're looking, if you step in dog poop, you got to be aware if there's a crazy person without shoes walking behind you.
Right. Right. So you don't, it sounds like they still live their lives. You just educate them and give them some street smarts to kind of handle their little world.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can't just be in a bubble.
Yes. Yes. What are the perks? I feel like you answered that before without even realizing of what you wanted as a kid, not being on the bus and having more independence. What are some perks about having kids in New York City?
So I think a lot of people don't realize that some things are just easier. While we don't have extra space, we have a life that's outside our home that's literally at our fingertips. And now that I have a teenager, I could literally say, oh, you want Starbucks? I'm not getting that for you. If you want it, you go get it. Right. And it's literally down the block. Everything's accessible. If you want late night pizza, it's there.
Right.
You're not like, oh, everything closes at 9:30. Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Everything's just, around.
What about challenges of raising kids?
I mean, where do I put all the shoes?
The shoes.
Yes.
Big problem. Yes. Yes.
Other problems, I guess just sometimes you feel like you do have to be constantly doing things with your children. And sometimes I feel like to remind myself, it's okay to not have another activity or be busy all day Sunday. It's okay to just be in your apartment. Here, I feel like we have to spend a lot of time outside our home to get the culture, to get the experiences. And sometimes it's hard to just
It's funny. I feel
decompress.
like a lot of parents, suburbs or city parents probably feel the same way or try to find that balance of letting your kids be bored and having that time to just relax and doing, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about what you do with your girls or both or one of them in the summertime, because I'm not sure many people understand the sleepaway camp culture and how many people do that in New York.
100%.
Yeah.
I
Can you
think the
explain?
expression is live 10 for 2. Like you get through your school year, so you could have 2 months. Now they took away a week. It's 7 weeks of freedom. So my kids go to Vermont, the Berkshires, which has been around, 70 something years. And it's a really wonderful outside experience for them. They get to live in a bunk and they get to live with like-minded friends, and they're away all summer. I see them one day for a few hours, and after 2 hours, they're like, okay. No, just kidding. It's wonderful. And this year was the first summer that they were both there for 7 weeks. So we actually got to re-experience life as a couple. What do we do with our time? Where do we go? What do we do? What's our life like?
Right.
And it was very freeing, knowing that our kids were taken care of also.
Right, of course. How are they when they come back? Do they feel older? Have they?
Yeah, I mean, besides dirty and exhausted, they are, every summer they come back a little more mature. And even as city kids, just being away from parents and around different adults, they come home a different version of themselves, usually better.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned that camp. Is it a specific camp for girls or for both?
It's co-ed.
Co-ed, okay.
Actually, the campuses are co-ed too. The bunks are separate.
Right.
But it is a Zionist, I want to say conservadox camp.
Okay.
But they don't shove the religion down your throat. And there's all different levels that you could send your kids to in terms of sleepaway camps. But this one, they just say, we're happy you're here. Let's all participate.
So is it more cultural than religious?
For sure.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they literally, bring in counselors from Israel so that the kids get a bilingual experience.
That's great. Do your kids speak Hebrew?
No, we're Hebrew school dropouts.
That's great. Well, leading to my next question, are there cultural activities that you like to participate in the city? And if so, what's important to you?
I mean, over the years, we've tried different things to find where we fit. For a while, our kids were in Hebrew school, which was
Okay.
great.
Okay. And what is Hebrew school? Do you go right after school every day? Is it once a week?
So there's all different types.
Okay.
The one we went to was once a week.
Okay.
Again, local, within walking distance at
Okay.
the local Chabad house.
Mhm.
And it was, teach a little culture, teach the holidays, teach some words, teach
Right.
the prayers. And that was good to give them a larger foundation of identity, at least to start,
Okay.
because we are not Orthodox anymore. My husband and I are recovering Orthodox
Okay.
Jews, which is a term I made up.
Yeah.
We're figuring out, but we're definitely culturally Jewish, and we do little thing or big things like camp or
Yeah.
Friday night dinner sometimes,
Okay.
or spend holidays at our parents and my in-laws to get that
Right.
taste.
Right. Your kids, what do they love to do in the city? What do they get the most out of?
So both my girls are very into dance. They both take 5 classes. So that takes up a lot of time.
Oh my gosh.
And they perform. And even though we're Jewish, they are in the Nutcracker.
Great.
But again, that's a cultural thing for me.
Right.
I don't look at that as a religious
Right.
thing. It's, they're getting dance, arts, being part of a group, multiple groups to make this beautiful production. So that is
Yeah.
something we participate in.
That's really special.
It's great. And they do the performances at Hunter College on a real stage with real lighting and real music.
Beautiful.
So
That's really
so
special.
that's something you get in Manhattan, I feel like, or you may not get
Yes.
elsewhere.
I agree.
What else do we do? What was the
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
What else do we do? I don't know. The kids watch a lot of YouTube. Actually.
I feel like all parents can relate to that as
Mhm.
well. Some people would be shocked thinking about New York City and families and community. They think it lacks community. Is that something you experience? What is your experience regarding that?
I mean, I think over the years, as your kids go through school, you meet different families and you kind of find who you like and who you click with. It also helps if people have kids the same age or the same gender, same hobbies.
Right.
So you find your people and you make your
Yeah.
group and you meet new friends along the way. I mean, I think COVID shook a lot of that up.
Of
Like I
course.
had my ladies and all of a sudden everyone moved to the suburbs.
I know. I still haven't forgiven
I'm
some of those people. that
Same.
left.
I'm still recovering from
New York City's transient. It happens. I love explaining to people when you're walking to school, especially when your kids are younger and you're walking with them to school, there's 100 or more people walking with your kids and you're waving to people. And then there's a park right behind the school and you're going to the park and you're running into 20 different families who are helping your kids, giving them snacks, keeping everyone's looking out for everyone. Yeah, I remember there was a clear moment when my kids were little. I was like, I can make my life as rich or as quiet as I want to, but the options are there. We have a packed park all the time
with all local families.
with all local families that you see and know through school. It's pretty easy to create community here.
Oh yeah, if you want to find it, it's there.
It's there. And when your kids start walking and become more independent, you see your friends' kids walking across the street. And if you see a kid with a phone, you're like, Johnny, head up. We're all yelling and watching out for each other's kids, I feel.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So New York City is loud in every aspect. Are there any routines or practices you do to ground yourself around all the noise?
It's interesting. I do live on the first floor, so we do hear a lot of noise outside.
Yeah.
There's a lot of construction and garbage collection. What do I do to relax? I don't know. I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah. So it sounds like you shut the door.
Zone out. Yeah.
So you come home, you shut that door, and it's.
Well, I still have all my responsibilities.
And
I
we'll
don't
get
get
to
to watch TV till late night.
Yeah. So you're a late night girl. That's your time to just decompress.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Netflix.
a couple. Yeah. I totally agree. We're going to switch gears because I love this aspect of your life. On top of your husband and you both having full-time jobs, you just decided one day to buy a bar restaurant in our local community. Can you please tell us the story?
That I'm also still recovering from. What did I do? What did we do? So at the beginning of COVID, all the restaurants were shut down, and then there was like percentage of dining, 25%, 35%. Like places were struggling. Everyone that lives in Manhattan or the boroughs will have their local places, right? So
Right.
ours was down the block. We've been going there since it opened
What's
for
it called?
years. Heidi's house.
Okay.
So literally down our street, we'd go there 3 nights a week. Friends with the owners, friends with the staff. I actually met a lot of my people there over the years. And they were thinking of closing, but they wanted it to live on. And so Bogey, my husband, overheard them trying to like look for someone, talking to people on the street. And he's like, I'll do it. I'll do it. And we then took on a wine bar and now have 2 jobs each, plus the kids.
That is incredible. Especially, I don't even know the percentage of bar restaurants that closed within the first year, and you took it on during the pandemic. I can't even.
I don't even want to
that.
know the percentage because that would scare me.
No, but you kept it, and then you built from there.
Yeah.
So,
well, we had to bring it back from the dead.
Right. So during a pandemic where people were leaving, people weren't comfortable going out and dining at that moment, and you didn't
It
know
took a long time.
Right. Is there an outdoor space?
Yeah. So my husband so there was a transition between Heidi and Ed, who were the owners.
Right.
So Ed and my husband are really handy. So they built the outdoor space.
Incredible.
Yeah. So that helped. And we just got through and made improvements and just tried to keep it alive.
I love that Ed helped.
Bogey,
build it, and he was a part of it. And then, can you explain Heidi's house? And next door is Ed's elbow room, but they're connected.
So Heidi's house is the original space.
Okay.
It's very tiny. It has about 20-something seats, And then a few years later, next door became available. Okay. There's all these little massage parlors. No one even knows what they do. But sometimes they go out of business. Right. So Ed wanted his own place. Plus, there used to be a line to get in. This is when people used to wait on lines or a waiting list, and they'd call, your reservation's ready. Please come down the block. But now we had an extra space for people to sit and wait to either get into Heidi's or just sit and drink. And now we do the full menu on both sides, which was how we also grew back from COVID to just have more seats where we can. So.
Right, and it's the same kitchen.
It's the same kitchen.
Okay.
2 separate entrances, but it's literally it's one and the same now in my mind.
So you were going there at Heidi's. It was a staple for you. I mean, local restaurants and bars are really big. Everyone loves. That's the beauty of New York City. You being seen, going to your local spot, loving the people there, and they
obviously someone knows your name.
Where someone knows your name in New York, not in Boston. So Heidi, Ed made an impression on you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how would they, when you came in, do you have any stories about
So when they first
their impact?
opened, everyone needs help in this world, right? So when you become friends with someone, if they need help, you help them. So Bogey helped them with their accounting. So they became like our friends, and Bogey helped with other little projects. And then I guess I had a baby. One day I woke up and I had a baby. How do you go out with a baby in New York City? How do you not be trapped in your apartment all the time?
Right.
So one night I was like, you know what? I'm going out to dinner. I'm going to take Molly. She's sleeping in the stroller. And Heidi was like, come back on the later side. And when I did at like 9-ish, she just let me put my stroller under the bar, like part of the bar that goes down. And I sat at the bar and ate my dinner and had a little glass of wine with a sleeping baby.
First of all, everyone wishes they had a Heidi in their life when their kids are little. I love that story. That is so New York City. I love that. And you took that spirit and you made it your own, because today it was such a staple years ago before you guys bought it, but you have continued that spirit in our neighborhood. Everyone is obsessed. There's no place like it. And everyone loves it. And the food is incredible. And the atmosphere is wonderful. Date nights, mom's night out, parents' night out through school. We're always there. How do you get people to eat there? Is it word of mouth? What do you do?
I'm a shameless self-promoter. I'll tell people, especially anyone that's local, I will mention it. I think it's important to know, because people, even if you're local and you walk by something every day, you may not really know what it is unless you go in.
Definitely.
So I tell everyone who's local, all the parents will sponsor Oktoberfest at the local elementary school.
Right.
I tried to donate to all the local school auctions. Just a little something for their auction, just to get people in also.
Right.
And it's also important to support your neighborhood around you.
Right.
And Instagram,
Right.
some influencers.
Yes. What challenges do you experience having a bar, restaurant in New York City?
When people want to take vacation.
That's tough.
The city's a tough place, as amazing as it is. You have people throwing garbage on the street. You have people letting their dogs go all over. you just, you have to deal with weather, or you could have a slow night because there's football on and everyone wants to go someplace where TVs are. We don't have any TVs. It's like a quiet, intimate,
Right.
where you could have a conversation. Every day something breaks, or I don't know, but I try. I'm hoping everything goes well today.
Yeah. And I heard you'd mentioned before, there's a real community amongst the local restaurants and bars. You guys take care of each other. Explain that a little.
Yeah, so that actually helps a lot.
I think that's great.
Like, for example, let's say we couldn't get artichokes. If I go to the local cafe around the corner and say, hey, who do you get your artichokes from? Or do you have a vegetable guy? Can I add it to your order? They will.
I love that.
I know, it's really nice.
Yeah, because you think it's competitive and everyone's fighting. It's not like that at all. You guys are talking or
'Cause you
referring, and
you never know when you're going to need help too. So it pays to be nice.
Yes, I totally agree. Your any customer stories or local events that stand out in the space?
Oh, like a celebrity sighting?
That means something that stands out to you, or a story.
Oh my God, I have so many. You're putting me on the spot.
You mentioned 2020 has been there. Yeah, I remember
that. We
that.
did film an episode of 2020, some murder story.
Love it. Love it.
Because the space is intimate. Like, you could have a nice conversation, and you're surrounded by wood, and just cozy.
It is jazz. There's game night. You guys have really done it well.
Yeah, it's fun. We have trivia night now.
Is that how you differentiate yourself? How do you, and are those some of the things that help you differentiate yourself from other
I also
local
think
bars?
To myself, what would I want when I go out to dinner? And
what do you want?
How can I keep it as the place I had been going to for years? So I like to keep the food quality up, the staff. We have such gem people that work there. Like, have become my surrogate older children.
Well, that's a testament to you and your husband. You treat them like family. And when people walk in, we feel that. We feel like we're home when we walked in. So that is your doing and your time and love and effort, that you have people that you care about and that you value there. We see it when we walk in.
Oh.
Yeah. Have you noticed any dining trends that people are interested in? I want to say since the pandemic, because I feel like there was a before and after and everything.
I know.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people every night. Just sometimes people are like, I'm coming for the comfort food. I come here for the homemade pasta. And then some people are like, I'm watching myself, and we have a lot of vegetables on the menu. It's, I think you just need a good glass of wine and a nice meal. You're good.
You guys got a great selection. You guys focus on the right stuff. As a woman entrepreneur, what advice would you give to other women who want to start a business?
Maybe I touched on it a little bit before. You have to ask for help when you need help.
Okay.
You can't do everything alone. You can't parent alone. Either you have a partner or you have friends that become like partners, family. Ask for help. If you don't know something, probably someone's figured it out already. So it's okay to ask for advice.
Yes.
It's
hard for women to do.
Very hard.
Yeah.
You feel like you have to do it all.
Yes.
And I promise you, you cannot.
Well, good. Well, my next question, I didn't realize I was going to ask. You have a full-time job. You have a bar restaurant. You're a wife and your mother. How do you do it all?
Try my best. If I could make it through the day without really messing up. No, just kidding. I'm a big list person.
Yeah.
Try to get through my lists. Some stuff gets pushed. You have to tell yourself it's okay. Like, you're not going to be able to do everything perfectly.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right. You do the best you can that day. Tomorrow's a new day. Move on.
Yeah. You can't go to every school event. I know some people do, and that's wonderful. I can't.
Right.
And you can't let the mom guilt kill you. Everyone has mom guilt.
Everybody.
I always try, and sometimes you say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, you miss something.
Yes. So it sounds like you just have to let it go and know that you did your best that day. And just keep
Kids
pushing.
will know that too. They'll know that you try.
Right. How your day, you only have 24 hours in a day. How do you are you at the restaurant at night every day? Where can we find you?
Okay. So, for example, I stopped over this morning ready to drop off some supplies on my walk to school, which is convenient.
That's a good picture. That's what it takes.
And then I usually try to do all my parenting tasks and my work tasks. And by the time I'm done, then it's time for my dinner. So I can go to the restaurant and eat my dinner like a grown up.
So people can come find you at the bar most nights for dinner?
Yeah. 8:30, 8:45.
Okay.
Some nights 9. That's my sweet spot.
Nice.
Where My kids have been fed, homework's done, apartment straightened up again.
And you're there.
Yeah.
So come find Beth if you wanna grab a drink with her.
We could use some more mom friends.
Yes, always good quality mom friends. All right, we're gonna do some rapid fire. Love a good rapid fire.
Okay.
And I'll try not to respond because why? Why am I responding to all these? I love it.
It helps.
Yeah, it does. Okay, subway or bus?
Subway.
Favorite place to get coffee in New York City?
I love Ella's on 2nd Avenue.
I do
I'm pointing
too.
like it's over there.
I love Ella's too.
Yeah.
Great cafe.
Yeah, adorable.
What keeps you up at night?
I do have little bouts of insomnia. It's not that I worry so much as that I know there are bad things in the world, like anti-Semitism,
Yeah.
safety for my children. What's the world going to look like for my children? I have nightmares, but try to tell myself to go back to bed.
Yeah, it's tough. Favorite New York City activity with your kids?
I do like going out with them for Italian when we treat ourselves.
I have to ask, where?
Ooh, that's a tough question. It's hard for us all to agree. Oh, we do love Antonucci's.
Antonucci's,
Yeah,
where
I
is
think
it?
On 82nd, 81st.
Okay.
I know how to walk there.
There's a lot of good Italian places. I was just curious.
There are actually.
What was your favorite New York City spot for drinks before kids?
Ooh,
Even if it doesn't exist anymore.
had kids so long, it feels like,
I know.
Is there a before kids?
I know.
I
know.
Well, I used to be at Heidi's house all the time. Where did my friends and I go back when we didn't have little people? I can't even. I think we went to Merchants in college.
Merchants. Where was
It
Merchants?
used to be on the Upper West. I think there might be one in the low 60s
Okay, I have
still.
to check it. That'd be
But
fun.
that was the day of cosmopolitans and apple martinis.
Cosmos, amazing. Do you serve Cosmos at Heidi's? All right.
Just wine and beer, some prosecco.
Yes. What's your go-to shopping spot in the city?
So I do most of my shopping online, actually. But after I get out of the train, so on my way home in my neighborhood, I'll stop locally. Butterfield. I always stop at FedEx. Sadly, that's where I spend a lot of time.
Yeah. And what is Butterfield's for those that might not know?
Also by a local mom. Oh, you should talk.
I know.
Prepared foods, little snacks.
Gourmet.
Yeah, sushi counter, sandwich
Amazing.
counter.
Yeah. What's your favorite date night spot?
Oh, where else do we go on a date night? That's a good question.
It's tough.
We're creatures of habit. We try to stay in the neighborhood. We try not to spend money on an Uber needlessly.
Yeah.
We go local. We love a lot of the little restaurants for date night.
Yeah.
Besides our place.
Yeah.
Where have we gone recently that I was like, this is...
It's okay. You could say you go to your place.
We do.
Yeah, for a
I
drink.
try to as much as possible.
I agree. We are creatures of habit in the city.
That's so true.
And we love our spots. It's hard to get away from those because we're so happy there.
We do like to go to Pio though sometimes.
Okay.
That's really good.
Okay. Most challenging part of your day?
Just getting it all done.
I
How do you
hear
fit it all in? I say I watch a lot of TV, but that's like after everything's done.
Yeah.
How do I fit everything in?
Yeah.
How do I do all the tasks? Like today I was shopping for winter boots. How am I going to find the time to buy the right winter boots?
The weather has dipped to the 60s today. You are ahead. I love it. Best celeb spotting or run-in?
So recently, I think it was last Friday, Bogey and I were standing outside the restaurant and this man is just like looking around. He looked like my parents' age, or a little bit older. And I was like, can I help you? He's like, do you guys sell ice cream? I was like, no. I was like, you look like Mandy Patinkin. And he goes, I am. I was like, can I offer you a free meal? He's like, I just ate. I'm looking for a treat. Oh, that's another good place. So I sent him to Anita Gelato.
Another good spot.
And he had a script in the back of his pants. It was such a New York moment.
I love him. I go back to my youth, Princess Bride.
Classic.
A classic. And where is he? Where have you seen him?
Well, now we're rewatching Homeland now that we bumped into him.
Incredible.
And it's as if I don't remember any of the details. It's like a new show.
He's in so many things.
So much.
That's a good one. That's a classic. I love classic ones. Your favorite book?
Oh, time for reading. Are you kidding?
I hear you. I know.
I actually read a lot of articles now.
Okay.
New York Post and New York Times on my phone.
That's fair.
I have a master's in English and I have not read a book in quite
I've gone
a while.
through phases, and it's a long phase that I haven't.
The mom fog is real also.
Tough.
I don't know if I could sit still and read.
It's tough. But if I did find a book, I'm obsessed. But who has time to be obsessed? Anyway, books are important. They're important. Read. What's your go-to self-care routine?
Oh, well, actually today I need to get a manicure. I do get my nails done a lot because you could
Yeah.
sit and just
Yeah,
answer
breathe.
emails, but sit.
Yes.
What's my go? I also just like, does that include exercise?
Whatever that is for you, it could. Yeah.
I do like sitting, biking on the Peloton.
Yes.
Not crazy. Like,
Okay.
let's not go out of our minds here. But then you could check your phone